They told us the house was cheap because it was old. They did not tell us it was cheap because no one stayed there long enough to learn why. My mother said it was a fresh start, a quiet place, a small house near the woods, far from the city, far from the noise, far from the life that had broken our family apart. So one cold evening, we carried our boxes up the front steps. Kitchen, books, living room, misc. My little brother Noah smiled the whole way there. I remember thinking, maybe this place is lonely, but lonely is not always dangerous. Sometimes it is worse. The house stood at the end of a narrow road that bent through the trees like a black ribbon. Its paint was faded. Its windows watched us like tired eyes. Vines crawled up the walls and the front porch creaked even when no wind touched it. Inside, everything smelled like dust and wet wood. My mother opened the curtains. My father checked the locks. Noah ran from room to room, laughing. "Can I take the upstairs room?" he asked. I told him to wait until we knew the place was not falling apart. But even before sunset, I noticed something strange. Every room in the house had a clock, and every clock had stopped at the same time. 3:17. My mother said the previous owner probably never bothered to fix them. Still, when I looked at the clocks, I felt something heavy in my chest, like the house had been waiting. That night, we all went to bed early. The walls were thin, the hall was dark, and the house made sounds no house should make. A soft tapping came from the attic, then a slow creak on the staircase, then silence. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe around me. At 3:17, every clock in the house rang at once. Not chime, ring, a sharp, ugly sound that stabbed through the dark. Noah screamed from the room across the hall. I ran to him. He was sitting upright in bed, pale and shaking, pointing at the corner of the room. "There was a girl," he whispered. "She was standing there. She did not blink. I looked. Nothing. But the window was open, and cold air was pouring in." The next morning, Noah refused to sleep alone. My father said he must have been dreaming. My mother said he was adjusting, but I knew what I heard in his voice. Fear out. While the others unpacked, I went outside to clear my head. The road stretched into the woods, disappearing under branches twisted like bones. Birds were silent. Even the wind sounded careful. Then I saw it. At the far end of the road, standing perfectly still, was a little girl in a white dress. She was too far away to see her face clearly, but I knew she was looking at me. I blinked, and she was gone. Only the road remained, empty, quiet, out. But on the dirt beside the fence, there were tiny wet footprints leading toward the house. That afternoon, I found a hidden drawer in the old kitchen table. Inside was a folded note, yellow with age, out. It had been written in shaking handwriting. "If you hear the clocks at 3:17, do not answer. If you see her in the window, do not let her in. If the hallway light turns on by itself, leave the house before she reaches the stairs." I read the note 3 times. My hands were cold, out. At the bottom, one final line was written in darker ink, as if added later. "She is not asking to come in. She is asking to be remembered." I took the note to my mother, but she said I was imagining things. My father laughed too loudly and said old houses collect stories. Maybe he was trying to sound brave. Maybe he was trying to silence his own fear. That night, I made sure every window was locked, every door shut, out. And still at 3:17 I heard knocking, not from outside, from inside the walls. Noah woke me before dawn. He was crying. "She came back," he said. "Not in the corner this time, at the end of the hall." I grabbed a flashlight and followed him upstairs, out. The hallway was long and narrow, with old family portraits hanging on both sides. Their faces were blurred with age, but I could feel their eyes on me. At the far end, the attic door stood open. A thin line of darkness stretched beneath it. Then I heard a voice, small, broken. A girl's voice. "Help me, out." Noah froze. I stepped forward and pushed the door wider. The attic was empty, except for one chair in the center of the room. On it sat a little red ribbon, tied in a perfect bow. My flashlight flickered. and in that flicker, I saw her, a pale girl standing behind the chair, long hair, a white dress. Her face was wrong somehow, as if it had been waiting too long to be seen. She smiled, then the light died, out. When the power came back, the chair was empty, but the ribbon was gone, out. I searched every corner of the attic until my fingers brushed against a hidden panel in the wall. Behind it was a tiny compartment. Inside, a child's shoe, a cracked photograph, and a newspaper clipping. The clipping was old. The headline said, "Local girl missing after house fire." The girl's name was Esther Vale, age 7. The photo showed the same house, before the vines, before the broken windows, before the silence, and in the background, standing at the edge of the burned porch, was a woman with her face turned away, out. I found the back of the photo had writing on it. She died here, but not alone. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. That was when I understood. The house was not haunted because Esther died there, out. It was haunted because someone had locked her inside. That night, my mother screamed from downstairs. We ran to the hall. The front door was wide open. Cold air rushed in, carrying the smell of smoke. Tat. At the bottom of the stairs stood the little girl, white dress, bare feet, black eyes, but she was not smiling now. She looked at us with something close to sorrow. Then she lifted one finger and pointed upstairs. My father slowly turned. At the top of the stairs, barely visible in the dark, stood another figure. Tall, thin, a woman with no face. My mother grabbed Noah. My father lunged for the door, but the hallway light flashed on by itself, just like the note had said. And in that instant, the woman moved, not walking, not running, just appearing closer each time the light blinked. Esther screamed. The clocks in the house began ringing again. 3:17. Over and over. I do not remember much after that, only the sound of shattering glass, my mother crying, Noah calling my name. Then silence. When morning came, the house looked normal, too normal. The clocks were ticking now. The windows were open. The road was empty, out. My family said the night had been a nightmare brought on by stress, but I knew better, because in the kitchen, under the old table, I found a new note. This one was fresh. The ink still smelled wet. It said, "Thank you for remembering me. I have lived in this house for so long that I forgot my own face. Now I can leave. But there is one more thing you should know. I was not the one trapped in the walls." And when I looked up, the hallway mirror behind me was no longer showing my reflection. It was showing her, standing right behind me.